My mother called my grandmother senile in front of 6 attorneys. That was how the fight began, not privately, not with grief, with accusation. We were seated in Harold Jennings' office, the will open on polished mahogany between us. The air smelled like old paper and restraint. "I contest this entirely," Karen said, voice steady but sharp. My mother did not have the mental capacity to make this decision. The decision was simple. The house on West Haven Drive. Left to me, not to her. She didn't look shocked when Harold read it. She looked offended. "I was her daughter," Karen continued. "I handled her finances. I visited every week." I didn't respond. I folded my hands in my lap and let her speak, because this wasn't grief. It was positioning. Harold adjusted his glasses. "Mrs. Cole, the will was executed 6 months ago. Your mother passed 2 cognitive evaluations that week." Karen gave a small laugh. "Cognitive tests can be manipulated." Her eyes shifted to me. "So can elderly women." There it was, not confusion, not heartbreak. A narrative. She isolated my mother, Karen said. She planted ideas, she controlled access. "She meant me. I met her gaze without blinking." "I visited on Sundays," I said evenly. "You were welcome every time." That's not what the staff says. The staff, interesting. Harold closed the folder gently. "If you intend to file a formal contest, you may do so, but I advise you to review the medical documentation first." Karen stood. "I'll let the court decide." She turned to me before leaving. "You should have settled quietly," she said. Now this gets ugly. The door shut behind her. Silence settled across the room. Harold looked at me carefully. "She'll drag this out." I assumed she would. "She'll claim undue influence." I assumed that too. He paused. "Your grandmother anticipated this." I didn't ask how. He continued. "She updated her estate file twice last year, very deliberately." I nodded once. Good, because my grandmother had never done anything carelessly, especially not when it involved Karen. That evening, I walked through the house alone. Grandmother's house, now legally mine. The walls felt the same, the furniture untouched, but the atmosphere had shifted. War had been declared, and I had no intention of fighting emotionally, only structurally. The lawsuit would come, let it. Paper could be answered with paper, and I had the advantage she didn't know about yet. The lawsuit was filed 3 days later. Undue influence, mental incompetence, coercion. Karen's attorney requested a temporary hold on asset transfer until review. Predictable. I didn't respond publicly. I didn't call relatives. I didn't defend myself at family dinners. Silence protects leverage. Rebecca Lynn, my litigation attorney, read the complaint without expression. "She's framing you as opportunistic," Rebecca said. "Claims you isolated your grandmother during cognitive decline." "She didn't decline," I replied. "I know we'll prove it." Rebecca slid a thin folder across the desk. "Your grandmother anticipated challenge. She left something with Harold." Inside the folder were structured addendums. 3 notarized physician evaluations. Dates aligned with the will's signing. Each explicitly stating, sound mind, no cognitive impairment, independent decision-making capacity, precise, clean, documented. There was more. A recorded meeting transcript, not dramatic, not secret footage. A scheduled legal consultation between my grandmother, Harold, and her physician. She requested it herself. The transcript showed her explaining calmly why she was leaving the house to me. "Karen sees property as leverage," she said in the transcript. "Claire sees it as responsibility." No hesitation, no confusion, just clarity. Karen began contacting extended family. I learned through a cousin. "She says you pressured Grandma," my cousin whispered over the phone. "I didn't," I said. "I know, but she's convincing." Karen had always been convincing, emotionally fluent, strategically reactive. She believed narrative outran documentation. It usually does, until it meets a court record. The preliminary hearing was set for May. Rebecca prepared a response packet thicker than Karen's original filing. We didn't counterattack, we dismantled. Timeline of visits logged by assisted living staff. Security sign-in sheets. Call records showing equal contact from both of us. Financial statements proving I never accessed her accounts. No transfers, no unusual withdrawals, no leverage. Karen called me once. Late evening. "You can still settle," she said. "How?" "Split the house, avoid court." "No." "You're being stubborn." "I'm being precise." She exhaled sharply. "You always hide behind composure. And you mistake composure for weakness." Silence, then she hung up. Rebecca closed her laptop that night. "She underestimated you," she said. "She always has." "That helps us." It did, because while Karen invested in accusation, I invested in documentation, and the court doesn't reward volume, it rewards evidence. The preliminary hearing lasted 18 minutes. Karen arrived early, navy dress, measured grief, controlled indignation. She didn't look at me. She looked at the judge, as if authority always flowed upward, never sideways. Her attorney spoke first. Mrs. Cole was the primary caregiver. She managed finances. She oversaw medical appointments. The sudden revision of the will favoring the granddaughter raises reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion. That was the phrase, not proof, not evidence. Suspicion. Rebecca stood when it was our turn. She didn't argue. She submitted. Exhibit A, 3 independent cognitive evaluations conducted within 10 days of the will's execution. Exhibit B, notarized consultation transcript confirming independent legal advice. Exhibit C, visitor logs showing consistent access from both parties. Exhibit D, financial audit confirming no unusual transfers, no raised voices, no emotional rebuttal, just sequence. Cause, verification, intent. The judge read in silence, flipped pages slowly, then looked up. "Mrs. Cole, do you have medical documentation contradicting these evaluations?" Karen's attorney shifted. "We believe outside influence may not show in standard testing." "Do you have evidence?" the judge asked. A pause. "No direct evidence, Your Honor." That was the crack, small but permanent. The judge declined the asset freeze. Ownership transfer stood. The case would proceed to full hearing if Karen insisted, but leverage had shifted. The house remained mine during litigation. That mattered, because control of property alters negotiation posture. Karen knew it. Her shoulders tightened as we exited the courtroom. In the hallway, she finally faced me. "You prepared for this," she said. "Yes." "You knew I'd challenge." "Yes." "You think paper makes you right?" "No," I said evenly. "It makes me protected." Her expression flickered. Anger, yes, but something else. Uncertainty. That evening, Rebecca called. "She's weaker than she thought," she said. "If we push for summary dismissal, we might end this before trial." "Will it hold?" "With this documentation, yes." We filed the motion the next morning. Not aggressive. Strategic. Karen had built her case on suggestion. We built ours on record, and record outlasts accusation. Karen tried once more before the dismissal hearing. She filed an amended complaint. Added language, emotional distress, manipulation, family alienation. It read louder, not stronger. Rebecca skimmed it once and set it aside. "She's escalating because she's cornered," she said. "This is narrative inflation." We responded with the same method. Addendum from the assisted living director confirming open visitation policy. Signed statement from the attending physician reaffirming cognitive stability. Bank affidavits verifying Karen had controlled the majority of financial access during the last 2 years. That detail mattered. If anyone had leverage, it wasn't me. The dismissal hearing was brief. Rebecca argued cleanly. "No factual dispute exists. The plaintiff has presented no medical contradiction, no financial irregularity, and no evidence of undue influence." Allegation alone cannot sustain litigation. Karen's attorney attempted one final appeal to emotion. This is a daughter who feels displaced. The judge did not react. Feeling displaced is not a legal claim, he said. Silence followed. Then the ruling. Motion for summary dismissal granted. Case dismissed with prejudice. No refiling, no continuation. Final. Karen did not look at me. She gathered her folder slowly. Her posture was still upright, but the control had left her. Outside the courthouse, she stopped near the steps. "You humiliated me," she said quietly. I responded. "You could have shared it. She could have written it differently." She had no answer to that, because my grandmother's will had been precise, and precision is hard to argue against. There was one more consequence. The court ordered Karen to cover a portion of legal fees due to the lack of substantive evidence. Not punitive, just procedural, but it landed, because this was no longer about inheritance. It was about miscalculation. She had assumed accusation would pressure me into compromise. Instead, it documented her failure. That evening, I walked through West Haven Drive again. The house was unchanged, but the air felt settled, not victorious, stabilized. Karen had tested the structure held, and that more than any speech ended it. The paperwork arrived 2 weeks later, certified, stamped, case dismissed with prejudice, fee allocation confirmed, no appeal filed. Karen signed the compliance acknowledgement 3 days after that. Quietly, without commentary, she called once. Not to argue, not to reopen the case. "I won't contest anything else," she said. "I assumed you wouldn't." A pause. "You knew she'd choose you." "I knew she'd be deliberate." "That's not the same." "No," I said, "it is." Silence settled between us. Not warm, not hostile, just finished. West Haven Drive remained steady. Insurance transferred fully into my name. Property tax adjusted. Utility accounts consolidated. Every administrative detail aligned cleanly. No shared access. No secondary authority. Clear ownership. Recorded. Protected. I spent a Saturday morning in my grandmother's study. The desk still faced the garden window. Her handwriting still filled the margins of old notebooks. On the bottom drawer, taped to the interior panel, was a note I hadn't seen before. Short. Neat. "Control is loud. Security is quiet." No date, no signature, but unmistakably hers. I folded it carefully and placed it in the estate file. Karen did not attend the first family gathering after dismissal. No one mentioned the lawsuit. They didn't need to. Court records exist without storytelling. Reputation adjusts on its own, not dramatically, gradually, permanently. Months later, she drove by once. I saw her car pause at the curb. She didn't get out, didn't knock, just looked at the house. Then continued down the street. That was the final shift, not confrontation, recognition. The structure she tried to challenge had held. I never raised my voice, never counterattacked, never asked her to apologize. The law had done the speaking. Documentation had done the correcting. Emotion never entered the courtroom, and that was the point. The betrayal began with accusation. It ended with record. West Haven Drive stands exactly where it always did. The difference is simple. It is mine, not because I fought harder, but because I prepared better. Quiet, structured, permanent.